All right, if all your games here with,
I'm done. It's over.
I'm done. It's over on YouTube, and today, what are we playing today?
We'll be doing some Elestrals content today.
Elestrals, yeah. Man, we were talking just a second ago, and IDIO was telling me, showing me all the stuff he has around there, all that Elestrals. So, mind panning that camera around for him?
Yeah, whole bunch of stuff actually.
A
A
whole
lot of
bunch of Elestrals.
Elestral decks and stuff like that. Plenty of games over there as well. So many things.
Oh yeah.
We've got a bunch of stuff that's over on that side. It'd be my SRG Super Show stuff. We got some Union Arena stuff down here. Elestrals constructed, some sealed stuff. Some other things I haven't really gone through. You name it, I've got it, man. I got pretty much every game you can imagine.
I'm done. It's over on YouTube. Check them out. Check them out for sure. And
everything I've opened on my channel, I still have and know how to play. So.
Yeah, we got to get some of that good stuff played, man, because most of my games, I haven't even played them. It's a darn shame.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, this will be my first game of Elestrals, so yeah, teach me how to play this bad boy.
All right, first thing you got to do is crack the deck.
Correct.
And you'll see two different stacks of cards in there. They'll usually be like this, and you can be able to tell the difference here. It's going to be, you're looking for a spirit deck, which is essentially your life and your resource deck.
Okay.
The dice is, you can roll the die if you want for like first turn or whatever. They also use it to keep track of the life points, aka the spirit deck count. Not really needed.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the actual main deck right there. Now you're getting into your spirits. So you separate out your spirits from the main deck.
Okay.
Main decks will be cards with things like Warmite here. And we'll go over some of the basic types.
Okay. And which deck are you playing?
This will be the Set 2's Cryo Scorch deck.
Okay. Cryo Scorch sounds like ice and that's it, or ice and something? Ice and fire, huh?
Ice and fire, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Alright, so I'm pulling out different types of ruin types. That way you'll be able to get an understanding of what those are.
Do you know if any kind of other game has a similar setup to Elestrals? Is it like so I can use a playmat? Maybe Yu-Gi-Oh or
Yeah, it's similar to Yu-Gi-Oh, but it has a 5-5 spread. So
5-5.
you actually get 4 units maximum in play and 4 back row in play, which is what they do borrow from the Yu-Gi-Oh type thing. But Yu-Gi-Oh is a 5-5 mat. So this is just a standardized play mat you get off the website and all that kind of stuff. They're doing a Black Friday sale now, so these mats are probably gone by now.
Okay.
But yeah, for the camera, we'll go over the different types of things in the game. That way you can follow along with that as well.
Okay, let me run for 1 minute. Let me see if I got a Yu-Gi-Oh mat somewhere. 1 second.
All right. Yeah.
Ooh, what about the Sandland? You know how big Sandland is?
Critter, that'll work.
Sandland is a 4x2, right? Or 5x?
This is a 5x5, mainly because there is a field spell zone that would be over here, and then your discard pile, your deck, and your spirit zone.
Sandland is a 4.
Alright, so 1, 2, and 3. Divine Ruin, equipped. And these are going to be able to be seen. Perfect. Yeah, I've got Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Just haven't dabbled in that in quite a while.
Yeah, I actually just started playing my first couple games of Master Duel, so.
Ooh, nice.
But they start you off very training wheels, so. Yeah, but I suck at Yu-Gi-Oh, so. All right, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, graveyard and stuff.
Yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh, Matt, you just cut off 2 zones on the end, and you're good to go for Elestrals.
Cool.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh was my first passion as far as card games went. Okay. My very first was Magic back in probably like 2000, maybe 99, 2000. Then we did, my play group here did Wyvern, which was a
Oh yeah,
smaller kind of game. After that, we discovered Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what I fell in love with for about 7 years.
nice. So you
Back before
still know how
we
to play
started
Wyvern though, huh?
engineering thing.
Okay. So you still know how to play Wyvern?
Actually, yeah. I've always wanted that game to be bigger than it was.
Yeah, I mean we got to try that at some point, cause
Yeah, Wyvern's one of those games that could scale online. I haven't played it through like webcams or whatever, but I'm sure it could do that.
oh yeah,
I mean, it's not too awful much more space than Elestrals would be anyway with a 4x4.
okay. Yeah, I mean you got to have those funky like pyramid cards and everything too, right?
Oh, the pyramid things, that's Hyborian's Gate.
Okay. I'm tripping. Okay.
That one I don't know how to play, but I do have some of it.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think
Hyborian
Wyvern is the
Gate.
one that I
Yep.
ordered, but I never got. So I need to get some more Wyvern. But yeah.
Yep. Wyvern can be pretty expensive. I've got a bunch of unopened starter decks for it. A buddy of mine collected the entire set minus the silver and gold dragons from back in the day. Don't ever know what happened to the set. He seemingly misplaced it, but oh well, is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, we'll go over card types while you're shuffling up since you got your mat.
Cool.
You've got your creatures. They have an attack stat and a defense stat. All right,
Okay.
so I'll show it up. In the center here, this is your casting cost. It costs 1 spirit of that kind if you want to play the character and have the ability. Alternatively, you can misenchant the character, and then it'll just be an attack body, an attack stat and a defense stat, no texts. All right, but this game is kind of a hybrid of both Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. And now the Pokemon element is they evolve. So for 2 energy, you can evolve this one if it stays on the field into a cryo vern here. And again, 2 energy to be able to put that into play. You would enchant it, and then it has a 7/4 body and whatever. And then if this stays in play long enough, it can evolve into the level 3 cryo scorch. All right.
And that one costs 3 to evolve it, right?
You have to have that much energy on it, like you would a Pokemon card, basically.
Okay, cool.
And now we get into the other aspect of the game. These are the back row cards. These are what's known as ruins in the game. And later printings of them have the actual type written right here, but right now we're going to go with what the symbols are since you've got set 1 and this is set 2 and they don't actually have the symbols. Is my glare too much on that? I think the glare's too much. I'm just going to turn that off real
Yeah,
quick.
there might be a foil or something. I don't know.
No, none of these are foil, but
Okay.
yeah, you got a sharper image there. But yeah, you got that. That is a field spell. So that would require 1 to enchant of the correct type. And then you put it in your field spell zone, which would be over here above your Elestrals, your Elestral stack, and it grants you bonuses and whatever. The next type is your equipped spell. It looks like a little shield with 2 swords on it.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get that closer to the camera there. It's got a little, there you go, little X and a diamond in it. That's an equipped spell. You would pay the cost and equip it to a creature on the board. These are what the game sort of revolves around. These are your divine ruins. Each of the elements have currently 1, but more divines will be coming. And they've got an effect, and they have this little horseshoe logo thing, and they would stay on the board kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh's continuous spell would.
Okay.
And now you've got a trap card, basically. These are counter ruins with the little football-like symbol with the arrows pointing up and down. They can be activated whenever they say on their card text that they can be activated. This is Gorgon's Gaze, one of the more powerful ones in the game. And it can shut down just about everything your opponent wants to do, from attacks to abilities, all kinds of stuff.
And that's the field spell.
A very powerful card. And then this would be an Invoke. This is more like instant in Magic the Gathering or just a regular spell in Yu-Gi-Oh! You'd play it for its cost. This one costs 2 of any kind. Activate the ability and then put it in your discard. Yep, you got Eruption, so that's the same thing. Okay. You would spend 2 fire for Eruption, and then if there's no other fire in play, you'd be able to, burn for 3 of the Spirit.
Cool.
All right, so you understand what the cards look like and that kind of thing right now.
Okay.
During the course of a turn, you have what's known as 1 normal summon. That's when you can take 1 card from your Elestral stack to be able to play something. Now, there's a couple different ways things can be played. Invoke rule. Well, we'll start off by just playing creatures. You get 1 normal summon a turn. So that would be playing a energy to be able to play, say, this Cryoling. Okay? Now, if this Cryoling remains in play, and it's enchanted properly, it can attack. You can play it in attack mode, you can play it in defense mode, and that would mean, in attack mode, you'd be attacking with a 1. In defense mode, you'd be defending at a 3. So your opponent would have to swing at you with a 3 to be able to, break that. What you can do on any future turns is you can perform an action known as an Ascend. If this creature is still in play, you can play a second on it on your next turn. Then you'll be able to cast out any 2-cost creature that you have in your hand and send the prior one to the discard pile. And that's how you would start evolving your cards. You've got to be able to keep them alive long enough so that you'll be able to ascend them into their proper forms. And again, if this level 2 stays in play, you can, instead of casting out another card during your turn, you can throw down a 3rd energy on your next turn and be able to go into... Well, there's only the one Cryo Scorch, so what did I do with them? And you'll be able to play into Cryo Scorch. Now, an interesting thing about energy on characters here, called Elestrals in the game, when they attack, if their attack number is bigger than your opponent's attack number or defensive number, whichever the case may be, you would destroy that character. So these numbers are battle-oriented only. Damage, however, is dealt equal to the number of spirits that are enchanting the character. So this is a 3 enchanted character, and let's say I'm attacking into this 2 enchanted character. Okay? Obviously, my 14 stat is bigger than the 7, so that would kill Cryovern. But the spirit difference is 1. There's 3 spirits to 2 spirits. My opponent will then not only lose their character and all spirits attached to it, but they will lose 1 life point as well. And that's part of the nuance to this game, is getting characters and putting spirits on them and knowing how to manage those spirits.
Okay.
Now, the way you keep your characters alive, like I had said before, are boosting spells, like the field spell Mountains of Borealis would increase their attack strength and defense strength by however many spirits are attached to them. You have counter spells, or, the counters, like the Gorgon's Gaze. So if that was set and your opponent tried to attack into something and you didn't like it, you could pay the 2, flip Gorgon's Gaze, and that would suppress, meaning it's frozen, it can't really do anything else, that attacking Elestral, and that could save your character. There are a couple of other very good cards like Shield of Achilles, and this card right here is Tsunami. That can switch everything that's attacking into defense mode if they're not water enchanted. So there's a lot of ways to keep your characters alive in the game, but there's also a lot of one-to-one trades in the game as well.
And that Tsunami, that was like an instant, right?
Tsunami is a counter, actually.
Okay. Which
so
is
you
like
would
instant, right?
That, and when Tsunami is, when your opponent would attack you and you have a smaller guy and you don't want to lose your guy, if they do not have it water enchanted, you can pay a water, and it changes all Elestrals that are not water enchanted to defense position.
Okay.
So
and that's a trap card, right?
Jesus, it's not really a Mirror Force kind of thing from Yu-Gi-Oh, but it has a similar vibe. It shuts down the entire battle phase, basically.
Okay. And these ones right here with the
Shield of Achilles, that's a good defensive tactic to play. That would bounce the opponent's card that's attacking back to their hand. And the reason you would want to do that would be it would clear a spirit from the monster from their side of the field.
And that's like a trap card, right? These are the trap cards with the arrowheads?
Yeah, those are the traps and spells, yes.
Okay.
And Shield of Achilles, you can activate it for 1 of whatever kind of spirit you want. And then you would have to pay an additional spirit after its activation to negate and return the card that's attacking to the opponent's hand. So it'll essentially cost you 2 to send back anything else. But it's a momentum shift that can make or break a game.
Okay.
All right, so we'll shuffle them up. You already did your shuffling. Any other questions before we get started? Opening hand is 5 cards.
Okay, and again, there's how many type of cards? There's so field spell has the
Yep, field spell is like the little swooshies. Yep.
Swooshies. And then traps are
the counter. Well, that's a trap card. Yep.
Okay.
Field spells can be played in one zone and one zone only. That would be up above your deck. And they cannot be set, so there's no bluffing to that. Face down cards go in your bottom row, just like any, Yu-Gi-Oh! Spell or Trap would if you wanted to bluff with it. Then you have your instants, which can be things like this card right here, Ambrosia. This is one of the more important ones in the game. This is a Invoke Ruin you can play during your turn, and it allows you to heal your spirits. So that's going to be a fun one to come into play at a later time.
Okay. And then just the spirits are the energy, basically.
Yep, spirits are your energy and your life. When you are forced to expend and you've got nothing left in your 20-card deck, you lose.
Nice. But every turn you've got to expend, which is play a energy, right?
Yeah, I didn't go over everything that you can do with that, but on your turn, you'll usually play, you can normal cast one character a turn, but you can play any number of ruins that you have in play. So, there's no limit to the amount of, say, Tears of Lease that I already showed that I could play. There's no amount of, the Ambrosia. If I had my 3 copies of that, I could play all 3 of those in a turn. There's no limit to how many, Invoke Ruins you can play and all that kind of stuff. Counter Ruins are locked to, you setting them and then activating them on a future turn. So once they're set, they can't be immediately played. And you can also not immediately play them face up, just like you couldn't a trap card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Things that you can do during your turn are summon a character, summon an Elestral, ascend an already in play Elestral to a higher level, or you can expend from your spirit deck to draw. Those are what are classified your normal summons for your turn. So if you got a really crappy hand, you got nothing that you want to play, you can expend a spirit and then draw an additional card from your deck. Granted, that will leave you open, but you can still possibly draw something that could protect you by putting it in the back row or whatever.
Okay.
You always have access to your spirit deck, so you always know what you have, and you can expend however you want for damage or for paying costs and whatever, but your opponent does not get to freely look at your deck. So I won't know how many waters you have in your deck or anything like that. That's all closed knowledge, but you have the ability to freely go through and choose what spirits you're going to use, how you're going to use them.
Nice. Okay.
And then once you declare a battle, the turn ends. There's no second main phases or anything like that. So once you play a character and you think you're going to go into battle, you want to make sure you have any back row that you want to have set done before declaring battle, because there's no going back after you declare your attacks.
Cool.
So there's just the one main phase where you play your characters, do your Invoke Ruins, set your back row, and then you have a battle phase, and then it passes to your opponent.
Cool.
There will be keywords that'll come up over the course of gameplay. Feel free to ask me, and I'll be happy to explain them as we go.
Sweet.
All right. Let's see. Do I have a dice with me? A D20. Oh, I'm sure I do. I've got a bunch of these decks right here. They all come with one. All right. So we will roll to see who goes first, or I could just take the first turn as the initial thing to show you. But I rolled a 2. Let's see what you get.
Got a 15.
Yep. All right. Think you understand enough to go first?
Not really, but I'll do it anyway.
All right.
All right.
That's how we learn.
That's it. 5. You keeping your spirit deck on the left, or you keeping it on the right? And we'll put it on the
my spirit deck's over here, and then my actual deck is up here.
Okay. Go right there.
You do have a mulligan in this game, so if your first 5 cards are crap, you can pay 2 spirits to shuffle them back and draw an additional 5. But that means you basically start the game at 18.
Okay.
All in all, that's not a terrible hand.
Okay. So I'll keep. So you kind of want to opening up. You kind of want a 1-drop spirit, a beginner spirit.
Usually,
I mean a beginner Elestral. Yeah. Okay. All right. So say that so you get a free card from the spirit deck, right?
Yep. You can choose whatever you want to do your normal cast for the turn.
All right. So I'll grab a water.
Mm-hmm.
Grab a water.
And And the spirits always stay enchanted to the character you're bringing into play.
Okay. And it kind of does the
Doesn't really
zone
matter.
ever matter? Okay.
Nope. Just wherever you're comfortable and wherever everybody can see.
Okay. So this guy has no.
So that's actually a divine ruin. That would be your Poseidon.
Okay.
That
so,
would be something you want to play at a later turn because its ability allows you to enchant it with more water spirits. And then kind of the deal of water is you can move those spirits from your Poseidon to make them stronger and activate abilities. So what you do have in your hand right now, I believe, is a Sluggle. You could play that in probably attack or defense mode. Since it's early, it doesn't really matter. But Sluggle also has the ability to heal, if I remember right. So if you don't have any spirits to gain back, that might not be a wise play either.
No, I don't have a Sluggle. Got a Globby. But that costs
Okay,
two.
Globby. Well, that's a level 2. That's right.
Okay,
So yeah,
like if you don't open
you
up
have
with a
any
level 1, then...
things with attack stats.
Okay, so like if you don't open up with a level 1, you probably want a mulligan, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, almost.
So if you didn't open up a level 1, you can definitely spend your 2 to mulligan, and then you can go back and draw 5 cards.
Sweet.
But then you start with 2 of them in your discard. 2 spirits in the discard is the cost to mulligan.
Oh,
you can mulligan as many times
much
as you want, but you could actually kill yourself doing that, and you don't want to do it.
Okay, so the spirits, they go to like a spirit discard or just a regular graveyard?
They technically share the same discard as your Elestrals do, but when I do that, I usually like have it down here below my discard pile. That way the actual stuff doesn't get mixed up.
Okay.
Especially if they're not sleeved. That way you have to go through them all the time. It gets kind of annoying.
Okay.
So as you get more and more into the game, people tend to sleeve their spirit decks differently from their main decks, which is a common practice in a dual deck game.
Okay, yeah. I wonder why they all have the same card back, though, if it's like that.
It is what it is.
Okay. Do spirits ever go to your hand?
Spirits cannot exist in your hand, no. They can exist in the spirit deck or in the graveyard, Tartarus. I don't exactly remember the terminology they use for it.
Okay.
But a lot of this is very common to card game stuff. If you know Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and all that kind of stuff, you'll pick this up quick enough.
Okay, cool.
We all just say the discard.
The discard. Man, let's see. Got a few options here. Okay. And what's Nexusing again?
Nexusing is a skill that requires you to have things in play. Nexus is the ability to move spirits around on your board. Okay. And with water, you can do a lot of Nexus plays that will result in healing and powering up your characters pretty significantly. So it's a good mid-game, late-game strategy for water to be healing and, moving its spirits around. That's why Poseidon allows for its ability. You can remove one to Nexus to a character you have in play. Okay. The thing is, you actually have to have things in play to Nexus to.
Okay. Now let me go.
Oh, crap. Yeah, that'll work. If you play Galaxy, then yeah. So Galaxy will be a 5-body. That'll be rough.
Man, you know anything about the zoom on these cameras? Because I just can't make out the words on the screen.
No, I can't really see them either, but I do know what Galaxy does. When it comes into play, I've actually got a promotional version of it right here. That's in a sleeve and shiny. Okay. But Galaxy, when Galaxy is enchanted, swap all water enchanted Elestrals attack and defense. Yep. So basically, as you play that, if I had any water guys in play and you did, you would be swapping the attack and defense of all of them.
Okay.
Playing him on his own, he swaps his own attack and defense. So he goes from a 2-5 to a 5-2. Nice. Which means if you have him in attack mode, I now have to find something bigger than or equal to a 5 to be able to beat it.
Nice.
And if it was equal to, and we did we attacked each other, they would both be destroyed. So that probably wouldn't be in my best interest.
Okay. So I played one card, and then...
Yep. Now you can set whatever you want, ruins, or whatever in your back row. If you have nothing you want to play, then you can pass turn. Opening in with a 5-body is pretty damn strong, so yeah.
Okay. In the 4-pointed diamonds, those are sorcery speed, or what's that?
4-pointed diamond. That is just an invoke. You can play that like a normal spell during your turn.
Okay.
The only cards you can activate on your opponent's turn are counter ruins.
Yep, and those ones are the
like the football with the up and down arrows.
Football up and down arrows. Okay.
Yep.
And those are traps, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, everything can be played as a face down trap, as a as long as it's a ruin, can be played back here as a bluffing card to make your opponent think you have something. The only things that can't be played face down are field spells because they have a designated zone they have to go in.
Okay. Nice. All right. No back row.
Okay. So start my turn and draw one card. And then let's do step 1. I'm gonna play a invoke ruin. So that'll be drops of lease. We will discard, or technically you enchant the spell. So that costs 2. Drops of leaf states reveal any number of cards from your hand, shuffle them back into your deck, draw that many cards plus 1. So I'll shuffle back in the Mountain of Borealis, Cryo Scorch, and Frigicub. And then shuffling these back into my deck will allow me to draw 4 cards instead of just the 3 I put back. Because now you got me having to dig for something that'll actually be able to survive against a 5 stat.
Okay. And you got the ramp with the 2 spirits, Hal?
What's that?
And how'd you get the ramp with the 2 spirits?
Let's see. You have to enchant it with 2 spirits to be able to play it. That's its cost.
Oh, you can do 2 spirits at a time?
Well, no, it's just this one. This particular invoke ruin costs 2 to be able to play. There's a pot of greed in the game called Nectar of the Gods, where it costs you 2 life to be able to draw 2 cards. So there are some invoke ruins that'll be more expensive and all that kind of stuff. Like, again, I already showed off the Ambrosia. That is a 1-cost invoke. And the Tears of Lease is a 2-cost invoke with the center thing right there.
But on turn 1, you can play like a 2 spirit thing, though?
Yes.
Okay.
These are ruins. You can play any number of ruins without anything. I haven't summoned any creatures yet. You only get 1 spirit that you can put towards a normal summon each turn.
Cool.
There are certain things that have special summoning conditions, but neither of these decks will really revolve around that. All right, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so this resolves, goes to the discard. The enchanting spirits go to the spirits discard, which are all the same. And now I can look. Hey, that'll actually work out rather nicely. Perfect. All right, we are going to perform my normal summon for the turn with a Vipyro, the fire spirit, to enchant a Warmite. A Warmite is a 3/1 body, and it says you can target an opponent's Elestral and give it -4 attack until the end phase. So your 5 is -4, now down to a 1. And I can swing into it with my Warmite, which is a 3, and kill it. Yeah, you don't need to track anything because we have the same number of spirits. There's no damage being dealt. Okay. So you just lose your character.
1, which is a 3, okay. Right? Yeah. And then the only thing I could have did was just have a back row.
Yep.
Okay.
Just like with Yu-Gi-Oh! I can attack whatever you have in play. You can attack whatever I have in play. And as I did my attack, there's nothing else I can do. My turn passes back to you. Draw a card for the start of your turn.
All right. And on my first turn, I couldn't have attacked anything, right?
No. First player does not get to attack. Nope.
Oh, okay.
But you usually get to set up a pretty decent board presence. Like your Galaxy was a damn strong card to get over.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I had to draw a nice little techie piece to be able to break that 5.
I see it. Right.
But it cost me 2 spirits plus the 1 for Warmite, so essentially 3 spirits to be able to kill something that cost you 1.
Okay. Now you can't play a level 2 Elestral on like the first turn
No,
it's
you
out
would
there,
have
right?
to have another character in play to be able to evolve it.
Okay. And
You
how do
only
you
get
know?
one
And how do
spirit
you
to
know
normal
that it's
summon each turn. You can normal summon, you can ascend, or you can expend to draw.
and then how do you know what level it is though?
Because it'll have like this Warmite's got that one fire pip right here.
Okay.
Then there'll be two or
Okay.
there'll be three for the cost zone.
All right.
Cost in that zone.
And how do you tell what it evolves from and into?
It actually doesn't matter. I mean, that's more of a Yu-Gi-Oh or more of a Pokemon thing to
Okay.
evolve them properly. As of right now, I could take this Warmite and evolve it into this 2-drop ice character on my next turn if I wanted to. It
Okay.
doesn't really matter, but certain cards will get benefits for like evolving the right way. There's just not many of those right yet.
Okay. And what's an enchanting?
Enchanting cards are like this spirit is currently enchanting my Warmite.
Okay.
Also, if there was an equip spell, that would be enchanting the character as well.
Okay.
Enchanting is just the word used when things are attached to something.
And that guy's a 3/1, right?
Yep, he's just a 3/1. His ability was already used on cast. Abilities are only once when they come into play, usually. There are rare abilities that are continuous and will, last forever. But usually abilities happen on cast. So Warmite will not be able to make anything else you play -4. He already did that when he came into play. Targeted Galaxia, and that was it. Now he's just a 3/1.
And expending, is that discarding or tapping?
Expending is taking from your spirit deck and sending to the discard pile.
Okay.
Disenchant is to move a spirit from a card you have in play to pay a cost.
Cool.
Like, I believe Poseidon's exact text is you can disenchant from him and Nexus to something else. So you would take the one off of Poseidon and put it on something else you have in play.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and summon the water spirit.
Okay.
Put the
Oh boy.
the mustache
Yep.
out there.
Yeah, Mustation. So for expending one water from your spirit deck, you can swap him into a 6/1 for the turn.
Yeah.
Yep, you're getting all the big beat sticks, aren't you?
Something like it. But okay, 6/1. So if I expend the
Yep.
one,
You would expend a water from your spirit deck to swap the stats of that unit, making it a 6/1 powerhouse.
okay, so it's in attack position, so it's a 6, but the one doesn't really matter.
Nope, so your 6 into my 3, if you decided to swing, would definitely kill my Warmite. No damage would be done because we each have one spirit enchanting.
Yeah. All right. Oh, no damage would be done.
Nope. See, attack stats and defense stats are only for battle. They don't actually matter for damage. The only thing mattering for damage is how many spirits are locked onto a Elestral.
Oh. So probably wouldn't even make sense to expend, right?
No, expending would be good. Otherwise, you would leave my guy in play. And like I had already showed, my 2-drop, that could be very bad for you.
Okay.
Because it would, those abilities and stuff could be pretty gnarly. Letting your opponent have the chance to ascend into something else on a next turn is usually not a good idea.
Okay.
So with your Mustation, you can expend the water, which you already did, to swap its stats.
Yep.
And now your 6 can kill mine, leaving you with a guy and me with nothing.
Okay. I guess that sounds like the move. Yeah. So swing there.
Yep. All right. Was there anything in the back row that you wanted to set before declaring the attack?
No, sir.
Okie doke. So your 6 over my 3 will kill Warmite. And I lose the Enchanting Spirit from Pyro.
Okay.
Alright, my turn. Draw for turn.
And you say damage comes straight from the spirit deck, right?
What's that? Yeah, an expend comes right from the spirit deck. A disenchant would come from a card in play.
But say that I was just direct attacking you and you had no creatures on the field, then
That
the
would do
damage
1 point of damage to me.
Okay, 1 point. Okay.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to set 1. You're at a 6 already. Icky poo sticky. Okay. We are going to do this. Use a Flurmine Ice Spirit for a Cryoling in defense mode. Cryoling, defense mode, protect me. Okay. All right, that'll be my turn. Here we go.
And it's a 5-butt or a 3-butt?
That is a 3.
3-butt, okay. No kind of
Cryoling +1 attack, but yeah, the ability doesn't really matter at this point since he's in defense mode.
Okay. And you don't draw on upkeep, do you?
You draw at the start of every turn, yeah. So my turn's over, you would draw your cards for your turn, and you would continue on.
Okay. Ooh.
Now, in order for Moss Station to continue being a 6 body, I believe you have to continue to expend the 6, but I don't have one in front of me, so I don't know the exact text on them.
Okay. You can expend a water in order to swap this Moss Station's attack with its defense until the end phase. This effect can also be activated when an opponent normal casting Elestral. Okay.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
So it goes away at your end phase, but I did my summoning. So if you wanted to swap yours to a 6, you could, and then it'll be a 6 throughout your entire turn. So it is like a triggered ability. That's one of the few cards that have a triggered ability on them.
Okay.
And see, that's why Moss Station and Galaxy pair well together.
Okay, man. You guys did. All right, so let's go ahead and grab a...
Yep, that'll work.
Fire Spirit.
Yep, perform your first ascension into Krakatuga.
That's it. Krakatuga. Alright, Krakatuga reads 4/9. Blue and red. You can expend 2 fire spirits to force an opponent to expend 3 spirits. And when a player casts a eruption, you can target and destroy a card.
Yep.
Okay.
So the Moss Station underneath would go into your discard pile.
Okay.
And then that guy would just be in play to be a veritable powerhouse. And if it can destroy something, you might want to throw it in defense mode since you don't need to attack with it. That way I have to deal with a 9 strength instead of a 4.
Okay, so why wouldn't I just attack into it? Because it's in defense mode, then what does that mean?
Defense mode means no damage would be done even if there was a spirit difference. But again, with your Krakatuga's ability, it says you can expend 2 to make me expend 3.
Okay.
And what was the other part of the ability?
When a player plays Eruption, you can target and destroy a card.
Alright, so if you had an Eruption in your hand, you would be able to get double whammy, basically. Okay. You'd be able to spend 4 fire to burn me for 6, and because you would have played the Eruption, you could kill my Cryoling.
Okay. Yeah, let's see how all that plays out. Okay, so you can expend 2 fire.
Yep.
Now, wouldn't it be better to save that on a more powerful guy? But you don't want anybody building momentum, so you want to do it as soon as
exactly. You got the momentum boost, so you want to stifle me as much as you can.
Okay.
But I'll help you out. I will do something else called Gorgon's Gaze at the cost of 2. And Gorgon's Gaze can now suppress your Elestral, meaning it no longer has those abilities.
Till end of turn or to win?
Till end of your turn, yes.
Okay.
It says target an Elestral. If its effect is on the chain, negate it until the end phase of the Elestral is suppressed and cannot receive enchantments, attack, nexus, or ascend.
Nice. All right, so
you've already paid your 2, putting the effect on the stack to burn me for 3. But with Gorgon's Gaze, it's one of the more powerful cards because it can interrupt things like that.
Okay. Yep. And you don't have to expend anything now,
but
right?
it also costed me 2 to be able to do that.
Okay. And you don't have to expend anything now, right?
As of right now, I don't have to expend anything because I negated your effect. You paid the cost for your effect. I negated the effect, and it cost me 2 to be able to do that. So now your character is frozen. You could still play Interruption because that's a separate thing, but you also would not be getting the destruction that you were hoping for.
Sweet. Okay. Right. And with that, I will pass turn.
Alrighty. We will draw for turn. And then we will do... Yep, this is about the only thing I can do. We are going to ascend once again. We are going to ascend into, I can't say its name, Polar Acne. It's a 2/5 with an ability. Your opponent's Elestrals are -2 attack. You can expend an ice in order to target and destroy an Elestral with 2 or less attack. So as your Krakatuga has 4 attack, I am now minusing it by 2. And for the simple expenditure of 1 frost, for mine, I can now destroy it because it's at 2.
Man, these are the breaks. All right.
Yep. So it dies. I had a way out. Thank goodness.
Well, and you say, the instants are the swirls, right?
Yeah. Well, they would. Those are invokes, and they have to be played during your turn.
Okay. Which ones are
the only thing during my turn would be counter ruins, like the Gorgon's Gaze I used on you on your last turn.
Footballs, right?
Yep. All right. So the spirits go to your spirit discard or regular discard pile, whichever you want to do.
Oh yeah.
So they're cleared off. And as your board is completely clear and my Polar Acne is in attack mode, I can swing and do 2 points of damage to you because I've got 2 Frost Spirits equipped to it.
Right. 1, 2.
Now, this is another example of a continuous ability. Your opponent's Elestrals get -2 attack. All right, so if you play something, whatever you're playing is going to have -2. Shouldn't be too awful difficult because my character is also a 2-drop. So as long as you can play a 4 or higher, you'll usually survive and be able to kill him.
Okay. All right. I'm drawing.
So my turn is over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a 2/5.
Yep, but you only have to worry about the 2 stat as it's in attack mode.
Okay. And a 2/1 and 2 would be
a 2 on a 2 would trade. Okay. But again, since my guy is, a bigger dude, if you have something that's a 4 and would get minused into a 2, you'd still want to attempt to swing to clear the board for the bigger guy.
Okay. But with a trade, nothing happens.
Technically, they're both battling and neither one loses, but you would take 1 damage because of a spirit differential, basically. Okay. So there is that sort of downside. If you would take a smaller guy with only 1 spirit and attack into a bigger guy and they both die, you still take the 1 point of damage because of the spirit difference. Okay. But it might be worth it to be able to get that body off the board. Especially since my spirit deck is now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spirits. And I believe you've got more than I do currently.
I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've only got 10, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you mulliganed. All right. Yep. So maybe not a good idea. But you also don't want to leave something in play that's a 4 body that gets minused into 2 because Polar Acne here can just expend to kill it. But a nice combo play, if you had it, would be, I believe, City of Atlantis is your field spell.
Yeah.
So if you had that, and you had a 1-drop water body of 4 strength or greater, then you would be swinging at a 3 anyway, because of the ability of the City of Atlantis field spell.
Yeah, let's just see how this goes. All right, so put my field spell on the field center, you say?
Yepper. It'll cost 1 spirit to be able to play it.
Okay. And you can only
It'll have to be water, so you can have a... No, it stays equipped to the character.
Okay.
Or to the card. Yep. These are what are known as Nexus banks, by the way. It's a more advanced term, but you said you had cards that work with Nexusing. Getting something that stays in play with all those spirits, it's what's known as a Nexus bank, and you can start moving stuff, which is really cool. So, yeah, that's your field spell Atlantis. Now, if you have a 1-drop, you'll be able to play that, and it'll be stronger because it's got 1 spirit underneath it.
Okay. And I would also, like, if I want to cast an Elestral, then I would have to play a spirit again. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. All right, so this is
All
foamy.
So
when
that's
this
a
foamy is
foamy.
destroyed in battle, you can special cast an Elestral with enchantment cost 1 water from your deck in defense position. And it's a 2/3.
All right, it's a 2/3 currently, but remember the polar thing will make it a 0/3.
Yeah. And but Atlantis makes it a 1.
Yeah, a 1/4.
Okay, 1/4. All right, so like you're saying, I need to go in defense position, is what you're saying.
It would probably be the better idea now, yes.
Okay, so 1/4.
Because my current guy cannot swing over that, but he can still use his ability to expend a ice from my spirit deck to be able to kill something with 2 attack strength or less.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it like that. But I can't Nexus right now, though, can I?
You could technically Nexus if you had a card that told you could Nexus. Like if you had Poseidon or whatever, you could disenchant to Nexus off of Poseidon onto something, but there's no real target that you would want to do that with. Because Floamy, when it dies, is when it triggers, and putting another one on. Because Foamy's a 2, -2 a 1. If you put another spirit on it, that'll put him up to a 2, but he would still die to the Polar Arachne's ability.
Okay. All right. I think I might want to go ahead and play this Eruption, I guess.
Alrighty. You would spend 2 of your fire to burn me for 3 of any kind. Oh. I will be burned for 1.
Actually, yeah, that ain't smart. That ain't too smart. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That kind of sucks. Yeah, that's a bad move.
Okay.
Forgetting I only get a few fire. So.
Yep.
Okay. Nah.
Man, that Gorgon's Gaze really screwed up that big damage plan, huh?
Yep, sure did. But, like, I should have had a back row to counter the Gorgon's Gaze, right?
There are cards that can do stuff like that. A Gorgon's Gaze can target an Elestral if its effect is on the chain. There is nothing that I can think of off the tippy top of my head that can stop a counter spell, but you can do other counters on top of those kind of counters. So if I were to do a Gorgon's Gaze, you could activate something on your side that could do something different, but then the chain would resolve like any other game. It would be last in, first out kind of thing.
Okay, cool. Just wondering what I got to do to get a crisp, clean video image on my webcam. Do I got to spend like $200 or what is it? I don't get it.
Yeah, that showed up pretty nice.
Yeah, but can't read the text though. That's the thing.
Well, the attack stats and all that are the relevant part right now. But when that Flomy dies as a result of battle, you can get yourself another body of another 1-drop, which would be pretty good. So Flomy dies, keeps up your board presence.
Yeah, that's cool effect.
Kind of like a giant rat from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or any of those other spirits, and when they die, they get stuff.
Okay, nice. Did you watch all the Yu-Gi-Oh animes?
I watched the first stuff, and I watched all the way through GX.
Okay.
I liked the GX saga. Once they started doing duels on motorcycles, I was out.
Yeah, I never watched any of that Yu-Gi-Oh, but one episode. But
Duel Academy was just brilliant. I love that whole concept.
That's the one where they start off at the school. I think that's the episode I watched too. Yeah.
Yep, there was an entire school dedicated to learning Yu-Gi-Oh, and that was so awesome back in my day.
Crazy.
So cool.
That one ran how many seasons? Do you know?
Oh Jesus! The GX saga, I want to say, was at least 3, possibly 4 seasons.
Okay. Yeah. 5Ds is the motorcycle, right?
Yeah. Once they started doing it on motorcycles, I was done.
That's funny.
But the original stuff and the Battle City stuff, I loved it when Slifer the Sky Dragon showed up. That was great. That was always my signature. Slifer the Sky Dragon, when we could actually legally play it. And then the Masked Beast, which was the biggest ritual monster in the game at my time.
Okay. What's Slifer the Sky Dragon do?
Don't even get played anymore.
What's Slifer the Sky Dragon do?
Slifer the Sky Dragon was a god card, one of the 3 Egyptian gods.
Okay.
They got 1,000 power for every card in your hand. So if you had a 7-card hand, 7,000 power.
Nice.
Yipper. All right, so you have anything in the back row you want to set or no?
Oh. Waiting on me. Nope. My fast turn.
All righty. We'll draw for my turn, and then we will do something fancy just to show it off. We are going to go and do a normal cast, Flurmine, into a Cryoling. And Cryoling has an ability, when properly enchanted as it was. Cryoling gets +1 attack for each ice in your Underworld. Underworld is the name of the discard pile.
Okay.
All right. When this Cryoling has 6 or more attack during your main phase, you must either destroy it or special ascend it to Cryovern from your hand or deck.
Okay.
So that means I have to go to my Underworld and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus itself is 6. So that will force Cryoling to either explode or transform.
Did it say 6 in the Underworld or just 6 total?
Yes, Underworld is the name of the discard pile for the game.
Okay. But the card didn't say 6 Underworld, did it? It just said 6 total.
No, 6 total power, but he gets +1 power for each ice in the Underworld.
Okay.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus his own 1 strength puts him to 6. And that forces him to either explode or get bigger, and it can go from my hand or deck. So I am immediately going to make Cryoling special ascend into Cryovern. And that's a special summoning kind of condition-y thing. So basically with Cryoling being really, really strong, he forcefully evolves into a Cryovern. And during your draw phase, so that'll be on my next turn, I can discard my entire hand in order to special ascend this Cryovern to Cryo Scorch from my deck. My hand currently contains 2 cards. So with Cryo Scorch, he's kind of a big guy. So we'll see how well that plays out. We are going to swing with... do we want to do that or that? I don't have any more ice to be able to do that with. So we're not going to swing with anything yet. We're going to activate my Ambrosia. And we are going to throw a fire on the Ambrosia. And what Ambrosia does is I can return up to 3 spirits of any sort from my discard pot or my Underworld to my spirit deck. So we will take 3 of these Flurmine, add them back to the spirit deck, sending Ambrosia and the Vampiro back. And then we will use the ability of Polar Acne. It says you can expend an ice in order to target and destroy an Elestral with 2 or less. So we will target and destroy your Floamy. As it was not done in battle, it does not get its trigger.
Okay.
And then we will swing directly for 4 damage, 2 from Cryovern and 2 from the Polar Acne.
2 and 2. And
Yeah, so 4 total damage.
And it's just always 2 when it's straight to the spirit deck.
Yep.
Okay.
That there were 3 spirits on any character, it'd be 3, and so on and so forth.
2, 1, 2. Yeah, 4 left. It's getting hectic.
Yep, 4 left, so it might be cool to finish with Cryovern. Yay. Unless, of course, you can destroy things. Alright, that'll be the end of my turn.
Okay. Drawing it, I'll keep.
So Polar Acne is a 2-body with the ability to minus anything you play by 2. And Cryovern is a 7 attack strength.
Okay. Alright, playing a Pharaoh's.
Nice.
1 spirit. You can Nexus up to 2 water. When you do, you draw a card for each water
cards. Yep.
a card receives way. So all I can do is Nexus to 1 because that's the only one on the field, right?
Yep.
Okay, Nexus to 1.
Can allow me to draw a card. Yep.
Draw 1.
Looking for a back row to possibly stop stuff.
Yeah, just not really drawing them.
Yep.
Man,
Yeah,
so
those shields really sort of come in quite handy. And now that that's no longer enchanted properly, it's sent to the discard, aka the Underworld.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, if a card is never enchanted properly, like for its cost, like this is a 2 cost, if I ever only had 1 on it, it would die.
Okay. Man. Yeah, I don't think there's too much I can do. But go. I guess I can put that in defense position. Doesn't really matter, right?
Alright, so he'll pass turn. It'll go to my draw step. I will discard my entire hand to the effect of Cryovern. Search my deck for Cryo Scorch. Special Ascend him with a fire. Alright, and Cryo Scorch says when you special ascend into Cryo Scorch, you must destroy all ruins. You can expend your spirit deck to force your opponent to expend 5. So that goes away. My hand disappears, and I will expend my entire spirit deck to burn you for 5. And since you said you only had 4, now to 3, you're forced to expend what you don't have and die.
Okay. But you expended your whole spirit deck first, though, right?
I paid everything in my spirit deck to be able to do that, but I did not force myself to expend everything in my deck.
Okay. So, like, if I had an effect to come back to...
The way that works is I can expend my entire spirit deck to force my opponent to expend 5. So I can expend everything I've got, but that doesn't mean I expend past that point. Making you expend 5 when you only have 4, you would have to expend past what you have, and that's the end game right there.
Crazy. And what's the card that said that? And what's the card that said that?
Damage to your opponent.
Okay. And what's the card that said that?
That would be the finishing god monster of this deck, Cryo Scorch. When he is special ascended via his little chain there, I can make my entire spirit deck go bye-bye to burn my opponent for 5. Nice. Basically, I just spent 10 to burn you for 5.
Nice. Yeah, good game, good game. Man.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn with this one, but it's quite fun once you get the hang of it. The spirit math is still the trickiest part that I haven't even fully grasped myself, and I've been playing for almost 5 months now. How you construct your spirit deck and your main deck, and then what spirits you use when you use it, is costing me quite a few games, actually. I expend the wrong spirit sometimes for damage, and without having an ambrosia to get anything back, it becomes very difficult to cast things or activate abilities. But other than that, the actual gameplay itself is pretty straightforward.
Okay, like how would you play around that Gorgons deal?
How would you play around Gorgons? Basically baiting your opponent. If you know your opponent has a Gorgon's Gaze, you would bait out something that you don't really need. So, again, Gorgon's Gaze at 3, which is a staple in the game, is kind of the reason bigger cards like that Krakatuga and stuff don't see a whole lot of play.
Okay.
Because Gorgon's Gaze shuts down pretty much anything in the game. And everybody runs 3 of them. That's not to say you can't get around it. It's just more of a nuanced play. If you know your opponent has that and they're going into something, you could bait it with something else to be able to do something later on with it.
Okay.
So Gorgon's Gaze is specifically an Elestral negator. So it can stop battles, because that's what the suppression keyword means. It can't do anything. And like I said, as you played with your Krakatuga there, you started something, and I can interrupt it as well, because your effect was on the stack. And there's the Pot of Greed right there, the Nectar of the Gods, that allows you to draw 2 cards.
Okay.
But unlike Yu-Gi-Oh's Pot of Greed, where you just, play the card and then get to draw 2, you actually spend 2 life to draw 2 cards. So that makes it balanced in this game.
Yeah. Unlike Bill, yeah.
Yep. And then Shield of Achilles is very powerful. That would have been able to stop me a couple of times to not be able to ascend into anything, so I wouldn't have had that body on the field. But the baseline combo of the water deck there is to use your Floamies, if you have those early, to be able to get into your Galaxies and your Moss Station. Because once you have those powerhouses on board, you can ascend freely into doing stuff, and your game's end goal with that water deck is Krakatuga. So as long as you can play around your opponent's Gorgon's Gaze, you'll be pretty good. Initially, what you would want to... People would normally want to gaze the Galaxy when it would come into play, because of that attack swapping ability is quite devastating. Because water has high defensive stats and low attack stats on some of its guys, and when he swaps everything, it becomes a problem. So I would have most likely gazed that if I had it at the time. And water also does a lot of healing. It's got a lot of spirit manipulating and all that kind of stuff. A lot of draw power to it, a lot of searching. It's a good element. Like if you had Tsunami in your hand, that would have been able to lock down a couple of those battle phases where I was hitting for a lot of damage too.
Okay. And you're playing with the precon too, right?
Yep, it was 100% precon. Okay. It was this precon right here. This is Crowd Scorch. Yep. This precon right here from Frostfall, set 2.
Nice.
I also have the set 3, and of course I'll be getting the set 4 Moonrise when it drops in January.
Okay. And this is a 3-of game, you say, right?
Yeah, 3 copies of any given card. So these are the set 2 decks. You've got Imperil Watt and Cryo Scorch.
Okay.
The set 3 decks are Pharaohgeist and Chronodial. The next 2 coming out are going to be Navi and... God, I don't even remember what the other one is right now for Moonrise, but the next sets are going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah,
and there are 5 base set starter decks as well. Let's see, I can grab those real quick, show those off. So you've got the base set. Come on, get in there if you're going. Base set Fire. Base set Wind. Base set Earth, Thunder, and then the deck you were just playing, base set Water.
Man, didn't run into any Sluggles. I needed those. Man, only 2.
Yeah, Sluggles are great little healers. They would have been very, very powerful.
Man. Okay, so 5 precons in set 1, you say, huh?
Yep, 5 precons in set 1. They come in the Kickstarter variety or just set 1. I actually have some Kickstarter ones right here. When you are looking to buy into them, on the back of the deck, well, this is the Kickstarter deck. It's got no symbols up here. That's how you can denote a Kickstarter from anything else. But the set 1 decks, we'll pull up the set 1 on the same thing. It's got that first edition mark right up here.
Yep.
The first edition is the difference maker. This would be a Kickstarter thing, and all the cards have the Kickstarter marking in this one. Those are the first things I came in contact with. Then I realized they had the first edition printing, and then everything else I've been getting has just all been first edition stuff. So
Cool.
But yeah, that's Elestrals in a nutshell. I've been playing it, like I said, for almost 5 months now. I've got my 3 constructed decks. I've got one of them is Earth Nexus. The other is I've got decks that are pretty good anyway. I've got a Fire OTK deck. I've got Earth Nexus, and then oh Jesus, what's his name? Just a second. No, that's the Earth Nexus. Because that's Moss Station. So it would be this deck. And constructed decks get way more tricky than, typical starter decks would. But this would be like Rhino or Rhino Sect. Yeah, it's an ice insect deck. So more of the ice element, like what I was just playing with Cryo Scorch. Then we'll start getting into, more typical things, like more standardized things, like trap card Poison Tip Arrow. Kind of works like a trap hole. When it comes into play, you can when your opponent plays something, you activate it, they get -2 attack on that character. And then if you wanted to pay the cost of the character at the end turn, you can kill it. So there's Poison Tip Arrow at 3, Ambrosia at 3, and then Nectar of the Gods. Usually draw cards, getting more cards is good. Gorgon's Gaze at 3. Shield of Achilles is at 3. The newly limited Resting on Your Laurels, which is one of the more powerful destruction spells, is at 1 now. It was at 3, so we only packed one of those. And then, tsunami. A lot of things that'll keep my guys in play. Tsunamis, that kind of stuff. Kill my opponent's stuff, bounce their stuff, rest their stuff. All to be able to get into this combination here, which is Rye Nymph into Rhino Sect. Now the trick to this build is this little 1-drop ice guy. When he comes into play, I can expend an ice to make him an equipped card on my opponent's character. And while there's an equipped card in my opponent's side of the field, I can special summon this big beastie.
8/5.
And he's an 8/5, which is some of the highest attack stats in this game. And he's got the ability to, when he is special cast, which is outside of your normal cast. So on 1 turn, you could do the casting of the Rye Nymph. So you could Rye Nymph for 1. Then you can expend an ice, put this on your opponent's character, and then immediately special summon Rhino Sect. And with Rhino Sect's ability, he can destroy anything that's equipped with, an equipped spell or whatever. And as Rhino Sect becomes an equipped spell, like he's like hugging onto the guy, like I'm a little parasite, I'm going to kill you kind of thing. And Rhino Sect will destroy that, and now you've got a big 8-body in play that can do 2 damage.
Nice.
So the standard Ruins package you'll be seeing a lot of as you advance in the game will be Poison Tip Arrows, Tsunamis, Gorgon's Gazes, Ambrosias are staples, and Shield of Achilles. Every once in a while, people will run the Nectar of the Gods, especially in combo decks, because you need to get these combo pieces. And this deck is very combo focused by getting these 2 to your hand, so I need to be able to draw cards. But the standard Ruin lineup usually looks like this. So there's not a whole lot of real tricky things. It's just everybody's playing these because these are really good cards at the moment. But we're only 3 sets into the game. So that's going to happen as it's a young game.
Yeah, that's like 21 cards out of your 40-card deck, right?
Yeah, it can be anywhere from 18 to 20 cards, yeah.
Okay.
It's usually a half Ruins and half Elestrals kind of thing.
Okay.
The rest of the tech in the deck are Water Narpoons to allow me to search Ice Elestrals, and Veritaqua, which is a water guy that when he attacks into an attack position Elestral, he suppresses that Elestral and makes its attack strength 0. So a little 3-body that can swing into an attack guy that's massive and be able to just instantly kill it. Then you got Rhine Nymphs, like I already said. And another piece is Arrowmare. That's a 4/5 wind Elestral. And he can also be played as an equipped character, gaining bonuses and all that kind of stuff. So like those equipped spells that I showed you out of the starter decks, there are cards that can become equipped spells, mainly Rhino Sect and Arrowmare. Then we have other things like Boom Bat, which is a great destruction tool. Boom Bat is a 1-cost Thunder Elestral that you can disenchant from him to destroy anything in play.
Great.
So you would spend 1 Thunder for your main turn, play a Boom Bat, disenchant, kill your Boom Bat, but then you can kill anything else.
Crazy.
So it works as another removal spell and all that kind of stuff too. And then the big card you're going to want to get your hands on from the Thunder deck is Ash Rabbit. This card is a staple for everybody. Every time it's enchanted with a Thunder, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and put the other 2, shuffle your deck. So basically, on play, he replaces himself. And he's a 5 defensive body. Like as I told you at the beginning of the game, a 5 stat is very hard to get over. You have the tools to be able to do that with the Moss Station, because that's one of the only 1-drops that becomes a 6. But Ash Rabbit is usually an opening turn play that'll allow you to start milling your deck, or searching for pieces through your deck. That'll be a great target for things like Gorgon's Gaze, a great target for a Poison Tip Arrow, because you don't want to leave this thing sitting on the field for too long. Because then there's the other thing that you can do is you can re-enchant on your following turns. So you can normal cast, you can ascend, you can expend a draw, or you can simply re-enchant for your normal a turn. So there are 4 things you can do with your thing during a turn. Most often that'll never come up, but with Ash Rabbit here, just spending a couple of turns enchanting him with Thunder, you can get the pieces you want out of your deck real quickly.
Wow.
I know there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, but that was in the pre-con.
These are the pre-cons are what we just played. These are my constructed decks.
But is Ash Rabbit in the pre-con?
He is in the Thunder pre-con, yes.
Okay.
You've got a Quackle, Toxeon, 2 Ash Rabbit, and the Thunder pre-con. So that'll be looking like this for the set 1. I don't know if Ash Rabbit is... No, not in that one. And there's no Thunder in the... Oh, no, there is. Just a second. Imperilwatt from set 2 has 2 Ash Rabbits as well. So if you're looking to up your count of Ash Rabbits, you do the Icy set 2 deck. Alternatively, it is available in set 1, which is a booster box thing. So there's a booster box in set 1. You can crack probably 2 or 3 of them easy. It's only an uncommon after all. But it's a very powerful uncommon, very good to have.
And divine cards, or what kind of cards again?
Divine cards are like your deity. This has got a lot of Greek mythology to it, like Nectar of the Gods, Ambrosia, Gorgon's Gaze. Like the Thunder divine is Zeus. Poseidon is the water divine. The trick to divines, those are what are known as nexus banks. So a lot of cards will have the ability to nexus this to this. And because you can play that divine, and it usually gives itself more spirits from your spirit deck, you now have the ability to move those spirits with other nexusing effects. This particular deck doesn't have a lot of nexusing effects to it, but I do have an Earth Nexus deck that I can go over real quick and show that to you. Earth Nexus is this one. So using the Nexus abilities are kind of fun to do. So with that, we've got Demeter. A lot of the deck looks the same. Equal Links. We'll throw out Mudlet. Then we will need things like Altar of the Stars. All right, so the combo of Earth Nexus would be to play your Equal Links, costs 1. Equal Links is a 4/3. You can Nexus up to 2 Earth Spirits. When you do, you can target and destroy a ruin. All right, so you would play your Equal Links first. Then you would cast your Demeter, which is your divine spell for Earth. Enchant it up to 3 Earths. So Demeter comes into play. Its effect activates. Put 3 on it. Then Equal Links can Nexus by Nexusing off of Demeter onto itself, and then it can start popping your opponent's back row. There are things that can be activated in response, but for the most part, it's the battle triggers, like what you were seeing, like with Tsunami, or like Shield of Achilles, that kind of stuff. So if you don't hit Equal Links with something like a Poison-Tipped Arrow or a Gorgon's Gaze on cast, he's now free to destroy or disrupt your back row. So that's how that would work. Then there are other cards like Altar of Stars, which is a counter spell, and things like Mudlet. When Mudlet comes into play, he switches the attack and defense position of whatever he wants. So you have a guy that's in attack mode but has a little defense, I can switch that and then stomp over it. And the battle trick to this is you attack into me, thinking my Mudlet's only a 3. I could Altar of Stars for 1. And Altar of Stars says Nexus. If you do, change the position of an Elestral. So I can Nexus off of Demeter onto Mudlet, change the character, change the Elestral you're attacking me with to defense mode, and then activate the effect of Altar of Stars. And if you had a second, switch that to defense mode as well. So this deck destroys back row and prevents your opponent from being able to do any attacks to you.
Out of control.
There's a lot of really cool stuff that can be done, but it's not unbeatable. This is one of the top decks, but it's not the top deck. It's still very susceptible to burn, and look how many spirits I have to have in play to be able to do this. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's quite a lot of spirits to be able to fuel that entire idea. But it also shifts the momentum pretty dramatically.
Yeah, but it's pretty much mono green deck, huh?
It's mono green. It does have spots of electric. Like, again, Ash Rabbits are standard in it. Again, so you can start digging for the combo pieces. Another good card in it is Viserys here, a green insect that when he comes into play, for each copy of him in play, he gets +1 attack. So he'll be a 5 body when he comes into play. And when he attacks and kills something, you can special summon another copy of him from deck to the field. It comes into play in defense mode, so it can't like continue to spawn attacks or anything like that, but it can fill your board pretty darn quickly. And with another one in play, they would become 6s.
Out of control.
It also uses the Moss Station, which is the Earth Crab to your Water Crab that you had used. And that does +2 attack for each enchanting Earth on it. So if this guy were to be attacking, he'd be attacking at a big attack stat. He can hit 6 just like your Moss Station can. But he's got that triggered ability that when he does attack, he switches to defense mode after, and his defense is only 1. So it's kind of like that. You would expend during your turn or mine when I cast something to switch it to a 6. So he's got a defensive nature to him. And this, my guy, is more of an offensive nature. When I cast him, he will immediately become a 6, but after his attack, he switches to defense mode. Kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh's, what was it, Giant Orc or whatever it was. Like the big 22s and 23s, they have a 0 defense, but after they attack, they have to swap to defense. Really dating myself with Yu-Gi-Oh references at that point, because that's old stuff.
Before my time.
Yep, quite a while. Yep. But yeah, in short, that's some pretty cool stuff one can put together. It's mainly mono green with a splash of the thunder stuff in it. It's got a little bit of water in it too to be able to fuel the tsunamis. But again, tsunami being the spell that can stop battle phases as well is pretty good. Yeah. The thing is, even though I can stop a lot of battle phases, I don't have anything that would really evolve in this game, which is usually why you want to keep characters in play, is to make them into bigger things. But if I do that, then I could fall prey to a Gorgon's Gaze on my opponent's side of the field. So it's really just controlling the tempo of the game and all that kind of stuff too.
Oh yeah.
And again, learning how to use the spirit deck and not, forcing yourself into a position where you don't have spirits to be able to do anything can get to be tricky to learn.
Interesting stuff.
But Constructed is a very different beast.
Oh yeah.
As it is with most games.
Oh yeah.
My Fire OTK is a fun deck too. That's one that a friend of mine had started doing at locals here. Even though it's not really a big locals, but they told me about Fire OTK, so I looked into that. And this is probably the biggest combo heavy deck that I've got. Now that revolves around getting the card Helios Chariot Ride into play and Exalt Flare into Blazerous. So the whole point here is to Helios Chariot Ride during your draw step. And Helios Chariot Ride means your opponent cannot cast ruins during their turn, or during the turn this is activated, rather. So there is nothing they can do from the back row, despite having maybe a full back row. And I can Exalt Flare for 1, and Exalt Flare allows you to Nexus up to 2, and then you can Special Ascend into another 1 or 2 drop Fire Elestral from your hand. So the way that would play out would be getting the Fire... the Fire Divine Hephaestus into play, loading it up with spirits, casting an Exalt Flare, Nexusing 2 off of the 4 of Hephaestus, playing another Exalt Flare over him, triggering the ability again, draining the Hephaestus, so that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spirits, and then have the Exalt Flare go into this 2-drop, Blazerous, and then it would be... Let's see, 1, 2. So it'll have roughly 7 spirits on it. And Blazerous has the ability, it can attack twice during your opponent's battle phase. So if they've got nothing in play, you just did 7 times 7, or 7 times 2. That's 14 spirits worth of damage. Or if the game has progressed a little ways and you have the right pieces, you can throw a light enchantment on there, Bow of Achilles. And this allows the character to attack directly, regardless of whether your opponent has characters or not. So I now have a 7 spirit, Blazerous, with a Bow of Achilles, allowing me to attack directly, after already activating Helios Chariot Ride, so there's no things like Tsunami, there's no Gorgon's Gazes, there's no Shield of Achilles, they can't stop this attack, and now I can do 14 direct damage by attacking twice with him directly to the opponent. So in most cases, by the time this combo is able to happen, your opponent has already drained their resources just by playing the game, and you can sneak in a win. But it requires a lot of pieces to be able to perform.
I mean, how many times have you pulled it off?
I pulled it off twice, but I still ended up losing because I didn't actually kill the opponent. I dropped them down to 1.
Oh, man.
And... yeah, I haven't done the OTK part of it myself in actual playing, but I've taken somebody with 16 spirits down to just, like, nothing. And then they had an Ambrosia in hand, got back up to 4 spirits, and they were able to do something to kill my guy with probably, like, an earthquake or something, and then I was dead. But still, it's possible to one-turn kill once you learn when and how to do it.
Man, I remember the first time I've experienced an OTK. It was in Oklahoma. This guy got so mad. Oh man, I think this guy like threw a chair or something. The guy got
the decks are pretty fun. When you get around and start building your own decks, you can do quite a lot of things. I mean, there is no one top meta deck right now. People are doing a lot of different things, and it's if you follow any of the tournaments or whatever, that they hold webcam tournaments and everything twice a week. And pretty soon the Elestrals second app that was just funded on Kickstarter will be being released. And then everybody has free access to everything. They can go in and build whatever decks they want. They can play against whoever they want. It's going to be pretty cool when that starts dropping next year. Right now, we're in the physical play phase. I've done a couple of online tournaments through them. One of them, I placed like in the top 16. That was a starter deck tournament a while ago, a couple of months ago.
Nice.
Aside from that, usually I get beat pretty hard. So it is what it is.
Man. Keep
No, it's been a very enjoyable experience. The community's great, and yeah, I've got my money out of it. So far, so good.
good stuff.
That
Good
plays
stuff.
quite nice.
Cool. Yeah, have to read up on this and try again at some point. But man, you don't think we can do the Sandland though? You think there's too much for the webcam?
Yeah, I think it's a little too messy for like webcam setups. That's more of a in-play or in-person kind of play game because of all the moving around that would be being done. I have more research to do in that game.
Like you've played it before?
I've got the stuff. I haven't actually played it yet. I've got a starter brick of it that I haven't even opened up yet. But I know that you're supposed to be able to like move characters around from your side to your opponent's side, I think. And I don't know how that would really work in like webcam versions.
Let's start up a new video and let's mess with it for 30 minutes. I mean, how's about that? All right.
Yeah, I can go. I'll go grab something, crack that open.
All right, cool. Later, gators.